We are live. Welcome to Worldwide Slot Car Chat on Zoom number 232. I'm your host, Greg Gal. The gang's all here with John and Dave and Gio and Don and Mike and John and Jeremy and Dewan and Jim and Wayne and Una and other people. Let's talk slot cars. Got hands up already. Gio had his up first. Go ahead, Gio.
Sharing.
Not yet. Not yet.
Got to come all the way from New Zealand. Give it time.
Oh, all that sharing just for a cardboard box.
Open it.
What can you say?
Did you ask to open or I open up? So I just tried to put Tony to show that Tony is just an amateur. Anyway, I mean, just to go quickly.
Holy crap!
So the
Did that come from Southern California?
nah, I don't buy stuff from the US. What's this? The Lola. Actually, I got for a very good price. I think half of the price because it has a problem with the chassis and stuff. So basically, these are from Armchair. So they were kind enough to give me a good price on it. Actually, it's not a huge issues, and I will post later on videos of the car how it goes. So I got to the Ferrari, the new Thunderslot 350, and I have a bit of kind of a comparison between the two. So some people racing here my digital club, they also do the analog things, and they mentioned that the chassis of the new Ferrari is super soft, gummy, I would say, and it's true. So I will show a bit actually that, and then a bunch of other cars. So
Sorry, Gio. If you go back, it looks like one of the inserts came out of the Ferrari.
oh yeah. So they were kind of a bit all over the place. Yeah. So they're a bit loose. So these are 124. I mean that Ferrari, the 296, man, it's so sweet. Anyway, I'm looking. Huh?
But why?
What do you mean why? It's sweet.
Carrera.
What do you mean why Carrera? I don't understand. Oh,
Not
because it's not yellow.
No, because it's Carrera. It's a friggin' tank. You're gonna spend half an hour just lightening the body, right?
It's a 124. I'm not gonna lighten anything. So if I'm gonna race, I'm gonna race it like they are.
Oh,
Oh,
I didn't know there was anybody running those. down
Yeah.
there.
I mean, in Germany they do race them, and I think I can get to from Australia. I can get to the urethane tire for these, and they go pretty well actually. So it should be kind of out of the box. I'm not gonna start removing the plastic from this thing. It will take a week.
Yeah.
Exactly. It'll take about a week with one of those.
But the price of this car, it's still
Yeah.
110 Australian dollars with the freaking chip inside.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Wear out 2 or 3 Dremel tools.
I didn't get that.
He said you'll wear out some Dremels in the process. He's got the
Yeah,
fancy Proxon
actually,
now.
yeah.
He's not running any crappy Dremel.
Dremel.
He's got a Proxon.
Yeah, so this is the contentious Datsun as well. And so here, kind of a bit of comparison between there's a new release and some of the previous one. The dimension are more or less the same. I could take the chassis from the Lola and I could put under the Ferrari because I just need to trim a bit of the front. So they are very interchangeable.
They're all 4 of them are like that.
Yeah. So which are actually, whatever how they are deforming the cars in order to do that, but at least it brings some parity in the class, more or less. So there is a kind of a difference of weight that this car actually should look like a lighter than the other one, but actually is a bit heavier. So measuring the kind of the two, or weighting the two cars. And as I mentioned before, the chassis is softer on the Ferrari, but actually, so this is the Ferrari one, and these are the Lola. And the Lola chassis, although it's a bit more rigid, it's still lighter than the Ferrari. And I'm putting also these kind of 3D printed plate in order to avoid that there is some kind of distortion from the magnetic power of the motor.
On
And
that chassis, is it stamped with like Ferrari or anything? Like, is it any difference other than it just came with that car?
so there is a bit of difference. It's basically on the front splitter, and that's what. So because it goes around the car here perfectly,
Yeah.
and here instead you see there is a bit more square. So if I need to fit this one under the Ferrari, I should trim around here.
And then you said it was noticeably softer or different somehow. I'm only asking because we had a guy win last week with it, brand new. I mean, he was driving in third and fourth place all week. And in that last race we had with these, he won with that car. And we were like, hey, that must be pretty good. But I don't know if it's the car or just he got it tuned properly.
With the Ferrari?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
They're all so similar. I'm just curious if there's a noticeable difference.
The main difference is around the softness of the chassis and pod. But for instance, the guy running in analog didn't like this because, I mean, the rule there says that you have to bring the car from 60 whatever grams, 60 grams, you have to bring up to 85 grams as a minimum weight. So basically you have to put a shitload of lead in it. And putting the lead basically deforms the chassis. It's so soft. So it's very rubbery actually. And I was expecting, to be lighter, but actually it's not compared. And also the body is a bit heavier than the Lola. Although the Lola has all that, the main fold and all the stuff up there. That's kind of a bit should have a bit more weight, but seems no, it's not the case. What do I have next? They also changed the screws. So these are the original Tandy slot screws that are pretty kind of, I think, 8 millimeters long. And the Ferrari comes with the shorter ones, although they're still kind of shield. And I think Wayne is going to have an orgasm because you can see that there is a difference in weight. So he's going to love this difference in weight where he can get something, always enjoying it. So I think now he's going to be hunting for these screws. Anyway, another thing that I usually don't review, but I thought that I should kind of bring it up is also some equipment for painting the model. So I got this one from AliExpress. I think it was around 50 New Zealand bucks, which basically I think it should be around the 30 US bucks. So it comes with the 3 different needle and nozzle as well. So it has a 03, 05, 08. The nice thing that these the nozzle and this stuff, usually the small one, I mean the typical way in which the nozzle is mounted on the body of the airbrush is with the kind of, you need to kind of unscrew it with a very kind of tiny and fiddly. So this one instead, you can, once you unscrew this part over here, then it comes kind of slides out, which is a neat feature, let's say, if you want to change it quickly. There's a different cups. And as you can see also, it has a grip, pistol grip, and a trigger as well. It's a double action. And this for me was my first time that I used airbrush like that. And it's pretty nice. I mean, comfortable to use. I love the fact that you have the different cups, because I have the middle one I'm using the Mr. Robbie one. But this big one is a big plus. And I like the fact that you can remove it and then you can clean it much closer to the needle and trigger stuff. So, and the other thing that I found out browsing, so it's these DSP, whatever it is, kind of brand. They do a lot of tools for modelers, and they're pretty expensive. So one of the things that I got from them is the circle cutter that I should review later on maybe. And so they had this stuff again, like on offer. And I said, oh, let's try, let's see what happens. So it's chrome silver for markers. So I assume that it should be a refill for the Molotov liquid chrome. So I try to spray. So I took a spoon, as you do, and sprayed with a new airbrush. First, I sprayed black. I did just a semi-gloss next to me, and I sprayed that, and then I sprayed. I put it straight in the that silver chrome, and with a bit of Mr. Robbie retarder, I think it's called, or something. I mean, I can give you the number later on, whatever it is. So I saw these from someone else doing some of these liquid chrome reviews, and actually, it's a pretty good mirror effect. Again, it's semi-gloss black, or it's over semi-gloss black. Ideally, you should put it over a black or gloss black. So it should be even better up on that. But as you can see, the mirror effect, you can see that I'm not wearing a shirt from that if you look closely. And after drying
He did
up,
that on purpose.
of
I'm
course.
calling it. Okay.
Of course. And actually, so the touch is not too bad once as it dried up. And this is a big preview. As you can imagine, the next step will be to add a bit of blue, and I think I'm gonna do it today if the weather stays there. I didn't spray these with the new. I did not spray this one with the new airbrush because I didn't know how it was gonna perform, because I did this before the spoon, so I didn't want to mess this up as well. So then the other thing will be the video, but I'm gonna leave it there. So I took both the Lola and the Ferrari on the track out of the box, just adjusting the 8 of the front axle. And by the way, I don't know what's going on with the thunder slot, but as you can see here, this is the Lola. So they use all the same grab screws for the wheel, rear wheels, crown, and also for adjusting the height. So these are like I don't know the actual name, maybe a 2.5, so bigger than the standard slotted one grab screws. But they use as a driver, you needed the NSR drive in order to screw them in. But
sorry to interrupt, Gio. Is there a dent in that tire?
Oh yeah, that's the mold. That's normal. That's normal.
Mold mark.
Yeah, but this goes away once you start throwing it. I mean, you can make these tires go as good as you can imagine. But I just took the car as it is, right? And when I say I put on the track, instead so this is the Ferrari. But the Ferrari, I don't know what the heck is going on, but so the holes here are much bigger. So you need to put a grab screws that is NSR one. And you have to be also careful because there is not much material there. So when you put it in, it doesn't bind that well. So they put the actual screw in the middle here, the one that you should use, but they do nothing there. So anyway, and the bottom one are those standards that you see. So the only basic thing, I don't know if they forgot or whatever, but anyway, so they put like the wrong hole in the upper rights, in the external ones. So this is something to take into account. And so, as I said, I mean, I run these two cars out of the box, just adjusting the front axle. And I have to say that the Lola is more stable than the Ferrari. At least, I could push it deeper in the corners. I will not kind of slip up. The Ferrari is a bit more, I don't know, twitchy around some of the corners in my truck. I have the video, but still I have not uploaded because I messed up with the picture that I want to use as a thumbnail. I think I am done so far. One last thing. These are gonna be live. So this is Taco Wednesday. So yesterday, although it's a bit of a sad story. Maybe you want to kind of pin me up. So I got these Ningo E-Type. So as you see, actually this is it's the more beautiful one than the one which basically has like the the short rear, and I got this from Hobby Classic. And when it arrived, although they wrapped it up, when it arrived, basically the car was kind of opening like a sandwich that was thrown on the wall. So I checked it out, and basically the front mounting post kind of was broken. And so I wrote back to Jordi, the guy running Hobby Classic, and basically just for that they're gonna refund the full amount of money. I mean, super nice and easy to do that. Although there wasn't a big issue with the I ordered also an Inco Megane trophy, and they forgot to put into the package. But anyway, so they're gonna send it with the next order. So Hobby Classic, very nice guys to deal
Well,
with.
that's really nice of them, considering you spent a mortgage payment for all those cars.
Well, I mean, not a mortgage payment, but I think I could drive a nicer car if I put together all the money I spent on freaking slot cars. But then I would get a lot of freaking fines as well. But so then, fuck it, yeah, a nice slot car is for me.
Tony's got 2 of those boxes
Oh,
downstairs.
the
That's
black-
why he's
oh.
not here.
John Weber has a nice, yeah, that's also nice hide brush.
And it's Harbor Freight's come out with these.
Yeah.
things. And it's a nice kit. Let me cover up my logo here.
Yes.
You can actually see that. And these are $80, $79 and some change here. And they have this one with the trigger, the underslung trigger, and then they have a more standard one with with the overshot trigger, top mounted trigger.
Is it dual action, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're dual
Yeah.
action. And the other one has, let's see if I got a photo here, pretty sure.
So forgive me for being a bit innocent on this. How do you get a dual action out of a single pull trigger? I can understand how you press down the button and pull it backwards, but I don't know how you get 2 out of a trigger.
Yeah, so I had the same thing in my mind. I was like, oh, it's possible. So basically, there is first bit, it's like a turbo. So the first bit, just air, and then you feel another bit, and the paint start coming out.
I see.
Does it make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, when
Yes.
you pull back the trigger, only air comes out until you press down on the trigger at the same time. Then the paint comes out at the same rate as the air carries. But this is the other version, and they have one other version that's supposedly for a smaller thing. But this screw underneath the cut, underneath the bottom of the front of the airbrush tube, that screw, I can't remember exactly what it does, but it's something pretty cool.
I know what it does.
I wasn't going to spend a ton of money just to get that. So I have Iwata brushes, and I wasn't going to change just for that, but it might be worthwhile. Iwata makes those also with that screw. I just can't remember what it does. Another sub.
Is it a maximum paint flow regulator?
No, it regulates the airflow. So you can reduce the amount of air going through. Either you can do through your compressor, or you can do through that.
That's useful.
What
That's
pressure
useful.
do they usually run? Excuse me?
What pressure do they usually run on those?
It depends on the paint you're using. I've been using Mission Models paint, and they recommend for most of their stuff, most uses 10 to 15 psi.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious what range it was.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how much pressure the hose, the air hose, will carry. You know,
Well,
what-
I was thinking about running it off. I've got a full size compressor, but that's like 110 psi. So I'd have
Yeah,
to
but you can
regulate it
adjust it
down
down.
quite a bit.
You can adjust it down. Right?
Yeah.
That psi, yeah, probably work fine.
Yeah, you can operate one of these on an inflated car tire, can you not? With a regulator?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
The car tire is around 30, isn't it? And I think there's plenty
Yeah.
of volume in there.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
you could
you could
regulate
do
the
that.
car tire down. I think
but
the
the
brother does
difference
that.
is your pressure drops as you're
Yeah.
painting. It's
Eventually.
could lead to inconsistencies.
I've seen some people say that you can use inner tubes. If
Yeah.
you can find
There
them,
you go.
you can use
I
inner
mean,
tubes because they're
yeah.
so stretchy. They don't really, they stretch so much when you fill them that they don't. The pressure doesn't really change all that much as they reduce in size.
Or you could also use the bellows if you happen to have an old set of bagpipes around.
I mean, a compressor nowadays for an airbrush is so cheap that you don't need to mess around with all of that, and it comes with tires now.
And the other thing you want
I
also
think the tires cost more.
well, the other thing you want to do too is grab something like go through some sort of dryer as well to take any sort of moisture out of the air if you can.
Yeah, I mean that one you can mount it on it. And actually, so what's the name of the brand that do this stuff here?
It says Black Widow on it.
Black
Badger.
Widow.
Okay, so I think they also
I'm not real keen on the black finish either. I don't think that's going to work out very well. But
they also have a nice dual compressor that you can buy and bundle with that.
Is that the 12-volt DC one, Don, you've got?
Well, it plugs into the wall, but it's a 12-volt adapter.
I got you. Yeah.
And then a Badger airbrush to go with it.
So the thing is, yes, I mean, a nice and expensive eye brushes, I think, are super nice. But at the end of the day, you can do quite decent job with these ones, and especially, if you have the expensive one, you can use them for very specialized work, and then for bulk things like, for instance, if you want to spray primer or whatever other thing. Like I'm gonna use two-part clear coat on Greg car, so I'm gonna use the other hairbrush so that you can not mess it up. Because if you're gonna mess it up, it's not gonna be super expensive to replace.
John D recommends a scuba tank, scuba air tank.
Yeah, there used to be a very, very basic blue plastic one that you could screw the Pactra paint bottle straight on the bottom of it.
Yep.
That's the only one I've ever used. And you could not draw like with the pencil lines, you could not do that, but you could paint a slot car completely, really easily with it. I've never done a slot car because remember, all my painting was on cars that are 300 millimeters long and 200 wide, 350 long and 200 wide, big old things,
Alrighty, good stuff.
So this is another approach that is also I've seen reviews. It works pretty well as well with this rechargeable stuff, kind of attached to the airbrush directly. It does a good job.
You got to keep it in warm water, just like a spray paint can, though, because when it dissipates, it gets colder and.
So basically, it's a kind of a small compressor, so it's always pushing air. So it's not like you recharge the air inside that stuff.
Okay, so it's got a little compressor and a tank inside that canister.
Yeah.
Cool.
So the whole thing is all the time while you're.
Yeah.
I wasn't
and
gonna
it must
say.
reciprocate. To be a compressor, it must reciprocate, huh?
Or vibrate or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was invented by Mr. Parkinson. Yeah.
Okay, John. I was expecting more from you, man.
You should know better, Gio.
No, in the sense of like a dirty joke or something. He said he went for Parkinson. Anyway, yeah.
He was on shaky ground.
Very good. See, I was
Very
going to say
good.
that
That's very good.
You be careful if your wife buys you one. She might buy one for herself as well. Yeah.
We're done. Don't Stop it. Moving on. Theo and John had his hand up next. Go ahead, John.
Well, mine is fairly quick. It is that time of year here in Canada where things are getting a wee bit cold. And this Sunday, there is another toy show. And I went to this one last year, and they had models and slot cars. And I just want to bring this to the attention of folks who are close by here in the GTA. It's October 20th. It's at the Etobicoke Olympium. Tons and tons of parking. It's really cool. And there's also, like, how Canadian is this? A $2 off coupon. I mean, come on. There's no reason not to go. So I got some great stuff there last year. Pardon me, sorry?
It looks like they really went to town on their flyer.
Oh, yeah. There you go. There it is there. Yeah, I can open it up, but I won't.
No, not that. The actual page. I thought I was looking at a flyer initially, and it turned out to be a web page.
Yeah, well, this is actually part of, there's in the province of Ontario, someone actually sort of aggregates all of the sort of different hobbies and shows and so forth. That's where I pulled this from.
Got you.
Yeah, very, very cool. So that's it.
Look forward to seeing what you find.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward. I even found a microphone last year, which I'm using in my studio. It's awesome. So cool.
All right, got some people to go to that. And Dewan has his hand up next. Go ahead, Mr. Clark.
Yes, had quite a few little deliveries this week. First and foremost was these things that came in from Jada Parts, which are the
Oh, the two-finger triggers.
Oh boy, let me
hold your hand behind it,
yeah.
and
Let me turn my
it'll
video
show
off.
up.
I'll just turn it off.
Or that, yeah.
I don't know what it is, but you're very handsome today too. I think when you get those packages, that's what does it.
Hold on.
We won't miss him with that biz vest and the hard hat.
Oh, I hit the background. It couldn't go away. Darn. Oh, jeez.
Jeremy said, hold your hand behind the controller.
Oh gosh, I keep hitting the wrong.
Or is a backdrop. Your hand is a backdrop to the controller in front of the camera. That might work.
Dwayne, did you really work?
Hold your hand like that, and then put the control. There you go.
Okay. Put me in front of the controller.
Well,
So
yeah, you put your hand in front of it.
Oh, your shirt's working. We know what you're showing us.
All right, we know what you got.
So that's the first one. Okay, so that's they work very good. It's nice and comfortable, and we use those for our Far Out Slot Car Club, and so I have 4 for eventually when I start hosting, and I do want to turn my backdrop off, so I can do it better this way. Blur my background.
I was going to say, the easy way is to blur and then undo blur.
Who's giving who the finger here?
I can't read my...
These backdrops that we use in this
on the back.
are the bane.
Yep.
Now you got to... No, don't turn off the video. Turn off the blur. There you go.
Okay.
Nope.
Yes, anyway. So that's number 1. Number 2.
We're live unboxing.
I haven't had a chance to see this yet. Just came in this morning, but I figured I'd just go ahead and open it up. And this is the...
Well, look at it.
Yep. So, Shadow 101. I mean, no. And the other thing I received is something I had before, but I'm just getting another one because I was putting too much of a load on the one that I had, and that's got another one of these lane cleaner push along with a. No, I shouldn't be. I should have had these things opened up, but nonetheless.
Swiffer cloths, I guess.
Yeah, this is going to be a Carrera cleaner truck.
Carrera truck.
All
Okay.
right, so I have 2 of these now. It takes the load off of my one that I had before, so that I can clean all 4 lanes. They actually work exceptionally well for just cleaning the track to get ready for some practice runs and things like that. But if I was going to have an actual race, I would do the full blown Swifter and other things. Let's see, I have a couple other things that popped up, and where did they go? Did I cover them up? No, yeah, I did. So I received.
If you run those trucks in lane 1 and 3, do they cover all 4 lanes?
No, they
just do 1 lane at a time. They do 1 lane at a time.
Well, you can do it twice as fast now, yeah?
Yes, twice as fast, and it takes the load because after 2-3 lanes, the truck doing 5 to 10 laps on each lane, you start feeling the motor starts warming up quite a bit. I haven't really taxed it out to you, so that's why I did that. And I can have multiple people doing it. So
Did you take any of the magnets out of your truck?
Did I take the magnets out of the cars?
The cleaner trucks.
Oh no!
Apparently,
I keep the magnet. I kept the magnet in.
Well, if you want to cut down on the heat of the truck, take out that center magnet that's easy to get to, because the magnetic effect on that truck is super powerful and you don't need it. And it really drags down the truck, even if you don't use it for anything.
Yeah, that's
just
why the
walking it around the track, it gets hot. You take that magnet out, it will run a lot cooler.
Well, this is the other thing I got, which is a set of new tires, which implies that I'll be participating in the
NSR.
Yeah, so this is my car from last year. I'll go ahead and swap out the tires and waiting for the motor to come in. And I'll be down there in another month or so. And I did get the heat sink from the dentist had. Finally got that Electric Dreams.
Oh yeah, the magnet motor heat sink. Yeah.
Yes. So that, and that's all I'm gonna show for now, because I have a few other things that came in that I don't want to show.
Had to dole it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get one of those cleaning trucks just to turn it into a Zamboni. That would be awesome.
Well, this is my Zamboni on the track. Because I put the one in the front and I have the one in the back, and
that's what they do. That's what they do in the NHL now to cut down time. They actually use 2 Zambonis now. Yep.
All right. Thanks, DeJuan.
And they sell twice as many Zambonis.
Twice as many. Jim.
Okay, not a lot going on this past week, but we did have something new. And where's this here? This is for those of you of the HO persuasion. We have a new track. Roseville Speedway. If you've seen my videos, I use Roseville Raceway in quite a few of my videos or backdrops. So this is a brand new 4-lane oval. I forget the size. I think it's like 4x12 or 14. Turn 1 is banked. Turn 2 is squeezed. So the 2 turns drive very differently. So it's kind of it's a challenging oval. And last night we tried some IROC stuff. They didn't work very well. We have to tune them for this track.
Awesome.
We've run the Looney Tunes before, and they run great on the road course, but we've got to figure out how the rails are different. And the bikes slide too much. So you need more of a flat track with an apron.
Oh, so hold on. The rear actually kicks out like that?
Yeah, it's articulated, so the back end slides out.
Cool.
These
That's
are
awesome.
Tyco from a while back. So those were the plans. We ran something else. So this is kind of half Club Corner and half, it's more show and tell than Club Corner.
The
I,
are the drive wheels under that brown thing, right? It's not the
Yes.
motorcycle.
yeah, there's a Tyco HO car underneath there. Chassis.
The motorcycle rear wheel just rolls.
Oh,
Yeah.
you can see the tire on the blue one. You can just see it.
Yeah,
Under
that
his
one.
foot, right?
And I did get a new car last week, and I've had it on the track, and I was very surprised how good it ran, how big and long these things are. But it ran really well on the big track, turned some fast lap times, so I'm looking forward to racing it. We're starting that in December, racing the hypercars. So
Is
Which
is
one
that
is it
stock,
for?
Jim?
I changed the wheels and tires on it and took it out of the box.
Watch out for the front part of that car.
Mm,
Do not to screw it in place. Use a glue and do some kind of laminating inside.
We're from NorCal. We don't hit stuff.
good.
Okay.
Enjoy it then.
I was waiting for the reaction. I saw Greg go, yeah. So
So
Yeah,
what is
yeah.
the point of a novel? I don't understand what's the point of a novel.
what don't you understand? It's a racetrack.
There's
I don't
oval race,
understand it.
right?
I mean, I sort of get what you're saying, but it's more competitive than a road course because you can't make a mistake. If you make a mistake, you're 2 laps down.
I mean, same as in a. I mean, if you have like a road course that is like pretty small, it's the same.
Well, I mean,
I,
it's an oval.
I took
It
one
doesn't
look at
matter.
it and wondered why. It's surely just the inside lane wins everything, no?
That's,
No.
you know,
If the
That's why you
cars are
rotate.
equal, yes, yeah, the inside way is always faster.
of
The
ovals.
IROCs weren't because they
I
had
would-
faster cars on the outside. And if you like or don't like ovals, that's fine. But ovals can be the most intense racing you've ever been in, or they can be the ugliest race you've ever been in.
Yeah,
That's the way it is.
I felt the same way. Ovals, like, that is so boring. I cannot imagine having fun doing that. And one of the guys in my analog club had an oval that he hosted NASCAR races on for proxies. And so he had us over, and I participated in that, and it was surprisingly fun. And like you said, it's very intense. The you know, when you talk about rhythm, an oval is pure rhythm. And yeah, if you mess up your weight, you just
Okay, so maybe I was a bit like an asshole before, but am I missing something? As usual, am I missing something here that I understand? Because you know,
It's
building
like
a
the
novel. Wait,
If you're an
so-
HO racer, it's kind of like the difference between magnet cars and non-magnet cars. The guys that don't run magnet cars won't run, you know. And a lot of people say magnet cars are just so easy to drive. And if you drive them in a competitive race, they're harder than non-magnet cars, in my opinion, to win. And the oval's the same way. And
The
if you don't like it,
Europeans-
that's fine. But
I
The
haven't ever
Europeans
used- I haven't ever
think
used-
of oval racing the same way we Americans think of Doctor Who. We don't get it, but you guys love it.
Well, no, fuck it. I don't know. I don't get to Doctor Who as well. So that's a UK shit. So
yeah. Well, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but if you haven't tried it, it's like I said, it can be the most intense racing you've ever done in your life to win, or it can be really ugly because people come off and there's big crashes.
So and then so basically that's the thing. So because building a novel, it's not actually you can have a nice one in a very confined space, right? So then the next question would be, does it work only in analog? Because then you can have a different or would work also in digital. And I don't know if Greg, do you have
could
any
do it in-
experience?
Well, not an HO, but
Of course.
a digital oval, everybody would be on the inside lane and never move until you had to pass somebody.
I mean, it would be the ultimate in getting the whole shot and not screwing up. As
So-
far as
How about, for instance, having like maybe if it's 2 lanes, for instance, running with a different voltage on the outside lane
You could.
would give like this. I mean, in
I would-
real NASCAR,
I would
oval
like to
racing-
see. I would like to see somebody build an oval with a dog leg on one side that went in.
Okay.
So on the dog leg, the inside lane would be the longer lane. I'd like to see somebody do that.
He's talking about a kidney, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
A pinched oval, but the pinch goes to the inside.
Instead of be like a tree oval, it's the other way around.
Well, it's still an oval,
Kidney.
but one straightaway would have a bend in it where the corner is right-handed. You bend in and then back out to equalize the lanes.
One of the
Yeah.
problems I had with oval racing when I tried it was like you don't know where you're at in the race because like you got to go in that first lane, you got to set your 15 laps, but you have no idea if you did or not. Another guy did 17, and then you're in the third lane, you have no idea where you're at.
But that's no different than any other road course that doesn't have an overpass in it.
It's different than no, that's a whole different story.
Electric Dreams is the same way.
I know you guys do
Yeah.
legacy racing. I know.
Well, Electric Dreams, there's a fast lane and a slow lane.
I know.
So
I mean, yeah, it's the purest form of uneven lanes.
but
Why,
if you race
why are
Looney
squeeze
Tune
lanes
cars,
so popular?
the Looney Tune
we
cars
can't find
change
what-
their mind.
Is it intended to be a contact sport because they've got the squeeze lanes in there?
It's not a very drastic squeeze, so no.
Right.
I didn't even
Because I
notice the squeeze.
I have used an oval slot car track. Yeah, something like that. Getting on.
Yeah,
for
I
that, but
wouldn't.
probably-
Wouldn't do a chicane. I would bend that whole straightaway.
Yeah, I think Courtney's drawing is probably more what Jim was talking about.
That's just a chicane.
Let's also keep in mind where oval racing originated, which was in the UK, Brooklyn.
Hold that up again, Courtney.
Yeah, please.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Does that even the lanes
Brooklyn's
out?
was
though?
large for an oval. Quite honestly, John.
That's
think
what it
it
was.
was
It was
oval.
all boards. It was all boards. Yeah, cars would get airborne. Yeah.
Oval RC
We do
racing
have
is the way.
our fair share of oval racing. Everybody seems to think oval racing is strictly a US thing, and okay, it's used there. But we also have stock cars. You're familiar with, the stock cars that we have, which are Nerf rails and all the stuff. But that is a full contact sport. You're intended to run into the back of the guy in front of you to push him wide as you enter the turn, and then duck up the inside. Not like your midgets and they call midget races where you do oval racing. They're all on the outside back wheel, but it's not a contact sport.
Well, there's midgets, there's outlaws,
And then
there's
you
track
stop.
cars, there's a
Yeah.
whole bunch. Yeah.
Well, I think what
Yeah.
I personally like about ovals, not in slot cars, but in RC and in full size, you get somebody coming from road racing and they want to take a road racing line. Apex, inside, apex. That doesn't always work in an oval. There can be 3 or 4 lines. The faster line can be on the outside. And that's what a lot of people don't understand that have never done it. That Formula One, there's virtually road racing, pretty much there's one line. In oval racing, there could be 3 or 4. And if you don't know that, you'll lose.
Yeah, and we have speedway motorcycles that demonstrate that very, very
And
well.
you see that, what's the track in Zandvoort that has that bank corner? And you see the
Yes.
Formula One cars taking different lines, and they've never done that before. Because there's typically on a fairly flat road course, there's one line through the corner.
But even the bank turn at Zandvoort, they've worked out the one line, the optimal line now, haven't they?
I've
And
seen
it's
them taking
not-
different
it's not
lines.
no
I see
apex.
some cars going low and some cars going high.
Yeah, it also depends on how the car's set up too, Jim.
Yeah, and same with like NASCAR, if you want to use NASCAR. Depends on the fuel burn, it depends on the tires, it depends on the track. The high line can be faster, and 15 laps later, the low line can be faster. And that's why Kyle Larson is so good. He knows how to read an oval track.
The trouble with
When it
it all
comes to
is, I
roads.
haven't seen the slots in those tracks.
The
Well,
what?
I've never seen the slots in those tracks.
Well, that's a whole different thing. But anyway,
Return.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho,
yeah,
overrated.
the Formula One people, for the most part, and I like Formula One too, but they don't understand the nuances of oval racing. You know, it's not the same line every lap. It may change as the race goes on.
Yeah.
All righty, moving on. What you got, Mr. Weber?
Let's see, the image that I have up there is a new reference book I have coming. It's not here yet. Lots of cool pictures of old Ferraris. So that's one thing. It should be interesting to see. I have a good reference book, but it's from the black and white era. So all the photos are black and white, and that leaves something to be desired in some ways when you're trying to do research. Then there's this one that's also coming about.
Oh, that's neat.
And
my car should have that wheel, but it doesn't have that wheel. I say should. I've got the wheel it should have, but the other models have that wheel. I can't name it. But it is a very familiar wheel. It's a modern wheel, that one.
Let's see here. Yeah, it's a lot like the 4Cs use now, and I guess the Julias that they're selling now. And then found this at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. Mickey Mouse. Perfect for conversion. One of those Looney Tunes type conversions or Mario Kart type conversion. I'm going to hopefully get a shot at doing something like that in the cold weather. And that's pretty much it.
Candidate for Pioneer Legend chassis.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. I think that might be too long for that, though.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, the Legend's too long for that.
It's pretty short wheelbase, but still, should still be fun for somebody.
Is it more, John? Is it motorized?
Pullback. It's a pullback car.
Oh,
so
you're gonna have fun with that. Like 2mm axles and everything.
Real quick comment: those Looney Tunes cars are scale electrics.
Oh,
really? The ones I showed.
Cool. And those motorcycles you were showing, they would be, and I'm surprised, are they scale electric also?
Tyco.
Tyco. Okay. Those would be really cool if there were speedway bikes rather than, because that's what speedway riders, speedway bikes do. It's heel it over and hang the tail out. That's how they do stuff. That'd be cool. But anyway, yeah, I'm done. Thanks.
Well, we look forward to seeing that completed.
Thank you very much.
All right. And Gio put his hand up again. Are you wanting to do Club Corner? Or you got more show and tell? You ready for
more
Club
show
Corner?
and tell?
More show and tell. Okay.
You mentioned.
Listen, I say Gio show and tell could be the whole show from what the box I saw.
That's an oval car.
True.
Yeah.
And a Type C chip. Okay.
Yeah, I don't need the lights for this, so I just put this stuff in. Shit, I forgot how nice this car goes on Scalextrics actually. So there's tons of weight that I put in this one when I did a long time ago. This was, I think, during COVID when they come out. So these blue ones, it's a Ford, and it goes pretty well, too well. And what else? So these are how basically kind of put the chip in, change the braids. I just soldered the braids into the whatever the copper things that they have inside. It goes inside, just like inside the guide. But I think I'm gonna change the guide or I have to see in my toolbox how many guides I have for this. And so the blue one should be the one that Alex should get, and it's too fast. So the red one is the one that I should get because I raised red and it's too slow. So the looking around, it's the bloody crown gear that is slipping. So I tried to do the trick of drilling a hole because there is quite a lot of material that you could. Let me see. I mean, it's not the best picture, but you see here that there is quite a lot of material in the crown where you could drill hole. Okay. Yeah, so, and I did that for like 1.5 millimeter hole, and I put the grub screws, but basically the material is too soft, kind of start stripping. I resorted to, I just put some glue into it, and I'm gonna test it if it's gonna last. But in case, which kind of crown should I use? How many teeth you guys are using for this one? And do I need to change the axle?
Now go. It's got a 33 tooth on there, and it should come with a 12 in 11, 12, and 13 for those. The 13 grinds really loud. The 12 is the best compromise I've found.
So
Does the
12
mesh
on
adjust?
33.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and their Pioneer axles are smooth, so you should be able to use a standard gear.
No, so where the crown goes, there is
It has a knurling on it.
knurling in that. So, but it's 2.38. So can I change with the normal slotted axle?
File down the
You might
knurling.
find the slot slightly short, I think.
I don't know. We don't replace the axle, so I don't know what would.
So you
fit there.
slide this kind of a slotted crown into the knurling of the axle?
No, I just.
If it
I'm
was
saying
me, Gio, I'd take the knurling off the thing.
Okay, Wayne, let Jeremy reply, please.
we use the plastic gear that comes with it, the 33. But I put like the blue Loctite on it before I put it in place and lock it in there. And then I use the 12 tooth to keep it, the 12 tooth pinion that comes with it.
Okay, I thought that you were changing the crown.
No, the crown should be a 33 tooth crown.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought you were going for a metal one. So you're just using
No,
the stock.
sorry. I just
Okay.
use the stock, sorry.
Okay, so Loctite it is, blue one.
I like the blue Loctite because it sticks, holds it, it expands in that channel, and it locks it down pretty good.
Okay. And Wayne, you were saying that in case I want to go for a metal one, you would remove the knurling.
I would use the stock axle and then remove the knurl. Just get it in your Proxon spinner and take some abrasive around it until you get it down to a nice 2.38 shiny surface.
So, but you mentioned something like the slotted or the axle. I mean, it's too short. You said.
The car is very wide, and I'm not sure where the width comes from. It might come from just the hubs. I think it's 65 wide. So you might need to measure the length of the axle that's in there now to make sure you get one that's long enough if you replace.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Slotted Plus, I think they have quite.
Yes,
I
they
think
do.
70. I think they go. I might be wrong, but they go pretty. Or 65 something. I mean, they go pretty wide.
That's true.
Anyway, I'm trying to create a bit of a party there, but yeah, I mean, anyway, so I will see. That's all. I mean, actually, yeah, as I said, they go pretty well. There is plenty of space for putting a chip in it.
Yep, we're ready to run those in the analog club, and mostly stock. I'm frugal, so the first thing I would have,
you
actually the first thing I would have done is the blue Loctite. If the spur slips at all or the pinion slips at all, the first thing I do is blue Loctite, and that usually takes care of it. And then
one question there, because for me the blue red Loctite is a completely new crap. So I use a CA. So what's the difference between the blue, the red Loctite, and because I've seen
red is permanent. Red, when you put it in there and you pull it apart, it'll pull the plastic and rip it apart. The blue has some give. You can pull it off and then peel it off hard. It's almost like it locks in there and it won't go anywhere until you do pull it out.
But it's different than the CA glue?
Yeah, CA glue is made, it's more like glass that's on there. So like if it gets bumped and cracked, whereas the Loctite is more like a rubbery resin that holds in it. And as it heats and cools, it does expand a little, and that's what keeps it and an actual screw you're supposed to use it in so it doesn't slip out. It's because of that expansion that holds it in there. It's
We
just a
used to
very
use-
minute.
On motorcycles, we used to use a green Loctite, which is a wicking. You don't have to take the two pieces apart, put the Loctite in, and then put them back together. You can have them in place, and you use this green Loctite, and it wicks into the threads, into the space. And it's about like blue, I think, as far as taking it
Just
apart.
stick with
Green-
the blue
green
Loctite.
Loctite.
Yeah, just
Just
go
stick
blue.
with the blue. You'll do just fine. The only other thing I would tell you is to
Forever.
move the crown off and then file a flat spot on it.
So green's not the ticket.
No,
Right.
Green is, I
the-
wouldn't use the green on it. I use the green to mount metal pinions, brass pinions on my 24 scale cars. I don't even solder them
Really?
on anymore. I just use the green Loctite. Yeah.
That's interesting. How long of a drying time do you have to move it around?
A long time.
Really?
You can put it wherever you want. Yeah. Well, then
Okay.
you just heat it with you just touch it with a torch or touch it with the soldering iron, and the heat will. Some guys like them to dry overnight. I've done it in, an hour. But it depends. I mean, you're running the 4.5-inch cars.
Yeah.
So I would let it dry overnight. The lighter cars, you can get away with it faster.
Okay.
And those are slip fit 2mm hole pinions, I take it then.
Yeah, they're solder on. Solder on.
Got yeah.
Yeah, generally you file a very slight flat in it and then tin the shaft and slide the solder over, and it's a pain in the ass to get in place and screw around with it. If you get it wrong place. So
Loctite would be easier and more flexibility.
And if you're not used to Loctite, it's runnier than you think. It's not thick like glue. It's almost like a milk consistency.
Shake it. The blue especially.
Good,
Shake
yeah.
it up really good. Yeah.
Yep. That could be prepped.
Shake it.
Thank you, guys.
I have a Dewan. Are you still on?
Yeah.
Does Dewan? Is it Revell track that you like, Dewan?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I was on Facebook today and there was a huge lot of it, I think in Pennsylvania. And I couldn't remember what kind of track Dewan like. Now, of course, I can't find it. But I'm thinking about you, Dewan. Yeah.
Alrighty, it looks like we're ready to move on to Club Corner. You got something, Mike?
Yeah. Well, first off, I've got
action
just
tap.
got it. I have to figure out how to use it. So we'll see.
Does that say
Shiggy butt
Vivitar
for me.
on?
And then I have, fresh off the painting, a proper colored Ferrari.
That is honestly, that is a very nice blue, Mike.
Yeah. Well, there's there's a real car with that color, probably a little bit lighter, but this was close enough for hand grenades.
That real car, is it called an Impreza by any chance?
No. No, there's
That's
a
what
real
that
Ferrari
one said to me.
488 with that color on it.
I do believe you, but one look at the color made me immediately think, oh, that's a Subaru paint. That
It's just to me a metallic blue.
got you.
It's painted directly over the original white though, so it's a little lighter than normal. But since the real car is lighter than that, I tried it. I tried a old body shell and put some gold underneath it to see how it would work, and it did not. So I decided I would go straight over that, and that's a sideways 488, the new one. So I will. I'm going to have trouble with the decals. I know that. I'm going to have to sort of search around and see what I can find because it's not a common decal. So we'll see what happens as far as, like if I can get those. I don't know anybody that prints decals, but if somebody finds that, I would love it.
What's the team, Mike? Who's the team?
I just looked it up. I'll look it up and let you know.
Yep.
But that's all I have for show and tell today.
Cool.
Projects.
Superman blue.
And I'm starting to do the Bentley. I'm working on that.
Hold on, let me spotlight that. Spotlight. You got some decal. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, looking good.
Yeah. So it did get raced this week. It did win its first race, but the race itself was less than optimal, let's say. All right, if we got into their show and tell, otherwise I'll go into Club Corner right away.
Segue into Club Corner. I don't think we have any other show and tells.
Okay, well, this week I raced, well, in the past 4 days, I raced 3 days out of 4. And we had Slotto on Saturday, which means we raced 3 classes, stock cars, Retro Can-Am, and LMPs. And man, it's a long day. I mean, you're there at 9 o'clock until we didn't get out till 9:30. So it was a solid 12-hour day. We had, I think it was 16 people, but things went slow for some reason. And the less said about what happened to me, the better. I did not finish last in the Fine Dewan tradition. I ended up finishing ninth, but I had lots and lots of problems. After driving my track and then driving that one, it's just the mindset and the finger control is completely different. And I just did not have a good day at all. And then Monday, we did oxygen races, and I spent a whole bunch of time working on getting the ghost car to work and trying to get my new chip, because the chip that was in there worked, but it did not have infrared. So it would not activate the straight portion of the lane changer. So it was a total pain in the butt. So I had gotten some B2 chips and I put one in the ghost car. And of course I couldn't get it to register. It was just a nightmare. I spent hours mucking about with it. Finally, I gave up and set the cars up as best I could. And then we had 4 guys here. It was like, oops, I poached another guy from the 124th Club. So he showed up and I didn't have a SCP controller for him. So it was try to get the ARC controllers to work. And that was just a total debacle. It was intermittent. It would go away in the race program. It was just useless. So on my way over on Friday, Greg, I'm picking up another SCP from Alan, because that's not going to happen again. And I'm also going to pick up another cartridge for the other SCP2 that I have. So then I'll have 5 controllers. So if I eventually get 5 people, I'll be able to do 5 cars on the track. But it was interesting because he had seen the videos that I had. He looked at those. He thought, well, that looks kind of cool. He only was a short distance from me. And he showed up and he was like, whoa, it's way bigger than I thought it was, just from looking at the videos. And then it was a very big learning curve for him. All the stuff going on. As far as driving the car, he was fine. But lane changing and doing all the stuff for that was like completely foreign. And it was difficult. But he picked it up pretty well, and he we had troubles with the controller and it quit early, screwing around with it. So he abandoned. He had a lot of stuff that had going on that day. He had a whole bunch of appliances delivered and was working all day and I was really tired. So he said he'll be back this next week. So my trip to Seattle and dropping $300 is going to go on. So we shall see.
Are you sure?
And then last
So,
night,
Mike, you said that you're gonna buy new cartridge or oxygen cartridge.
yeah, an oxygen cartridge for an SCP-2.
Okay, so they're still in stock.
Yeah, Alan
Yeah,
has
I'm
some.
getting it from 132 slots
Okay,
over in
because
Tacoma.
they are out of production. So
Yeah, yeah.
buy them up.
He's got one. Well, I only have one SCP-2 and I wouldn't buy any more. So,
And he's
yeah,
also got.
I'll
he's
get
al-
that.
He's also. I was surprised that he had the oxygen cartridge in stock, but he also has stock, according to his website, of the SCP-2 with oxygen cartridge. So I'm like, how many does he actually have?
I don't know. So
But yeah,
anyway, I'm
Indicative of how
I'm
quickly
gonna
they move, I
take
can imagine.
through him, anyways. He he doesn't. His thing is all analog. He doesn't have a lot of walk-in digital stuff happening.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, I called him and made sure it was in stock first, and then ordered it, and also the LiPo battery packs. Now, Greg, have you used an SCP-2 with the LiPo battery packs?
so I have two SCP-1s and one SCP-2, all with oxygen cartridge, and I would assume that the oxygen cartridges he has in stock are late production, but you might get, if it's late production, then there is that big silver can capacitor that's on the board is taller on the late production models of the cartridge, which prevents the batteries that I'm using from fitting into the handle. But basically, I found LiPo batteries that fit into the handle and wired in a switch at the base of the handle, so that the wires go to the switch and then to the battery with the connector. So
Yeah.
I don't have anything dangling off the controller. It's just there with the switch next to the
Well,
antenna.
he has a battery container for that, which I'm probably going to get. So I'll do that. But I didn't realize that you could use the oxygen cartridge with the SCP-1. I do have a couple of SCP-1s too, so that would save me some bucks that way.
Yeah,
Is there any drawback to using an SCP-1?
I mean, other than the differences between a 1 and a 2, no. It works just the same.
Which are?
The main difference between 1 and 2 is 2 has the little toggle switch on the top, whereas the 1 has the dip switches. The 1 doesn't have the 2-finger trigger option. The 1 doesn't have the trigger reprogramming option. The 1 requires 7.2 volts, whereas the 2 and the 3 can work at a lower voltage. But otherwise, they're still more or less functionally the same. The main difference for the oxygen cartridge in the SCP-1 is that you have to put a little bridge on a jumper to tell the cartridge that it's in an SCP-1 versus a 2. But it should come with that. If not, jumpers are easy to dig up from an old computer.
All right. Well, in the future, that means I can use the SCP-1s that I've got.
For sure.
In the early days, I tried using those on analog, and it popped fuses and stuff on the track we were using, so I abandoned it. Bought my DeFalco, which I discovered on Saturday, going back to the Club Corner thing, was screwing up really badly. That was one of my problems. The controller itself would not hit the brakes every time. So I could go, 3-4 laps with my braking points. It was fine. And all of a sudden it would take off. And usually it happened on one of the corners that come off the bank corner at the Green Hornet, which meant that I was traveling at mega speeds. And
Well,
of
that's
course,
Murphy's law of
on the
slot
floor.
cars, right?
What's that?
That is Murphy's law of slot cars. Brakes only fail going at the end of the longest straight.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a nightmare. And you know, we didn't figure it out on Saturday. We figured it out on Tuesday. And even then it was intermittent. I was really frustrated with the controller for that reason.
And then you cleaned it and then it was all okay again. Huh?
No, I wish it were just that. No, it was the brake where it hits the brake stop.
Yeah,
was moving, and that's
moving.
what was causing it. Yeah, it was loose. It loosened up, and the trigger was loose, so I tightened that up. So it would hit the wiper really well. So it was frustrating at best.
All fixed now, though?
Mostly, yeah. I had a little bit of trouble with it last night, but we bent it forward a little bit again. What would happen is that when you release the trigger, it would hit the screw on the back instead of the stop, and it would sort of go on and off for that reason. So we had to move the position of the stop back. In order to do that, you got to assemble a controller, disassemble completely the controller, and screw around with that. So it was a pain. So hopefully next week will be better with the oxygen stuff, and we'll see if we can get the new guy oriented that he'll come regularly. But he was really interested, so that helps. So that'll put 4 of us on the track, and that'll be nice.
It will.
And if I can get the ghost car, fine, like normal.
I've got an ARC air controller that intermittently fails to brake. I've had it apart. I've looked at it. I can't see any reason why it wouldn't work properly. And then you put it back together and it does work properly. And then you come down the longest straight, as Dennis says, at warp speed. You think,
did you clean the slide? Did you get the slider?
Yeah.
What about the
I had a close look at the I had a close look at the why the brake system, how the brake system functions, and couldn't see any reason for it not to function. Of course, it does. It touches, it does, and then it doesn't. And you think, oh my God, why?
Did you do any cleaning to the sliding resistor?
Yeah, use some what you would call brake cleaner, electrical contact cleaner.
Use Inox if you have any.
A friend of mine was having trouble with intermittent brakes on his DeFalco last Thursday race, and basically we fixed it by cleaning the wiper board where the wiper goes across the where the button of the wiper goes across the board. That was where the problem was. If that's properly clean, and there's 2 ways to lubricate that. You can use a little bit of brake juice if you know what brake juice is, or else the best way to do it, clean it with some alcohol or some lighter fluid, and then rub your finger on your nose to get that little bit of grease that's on or a little bit of oil that's on your nose, and rub that along the wiper board on the controller, and you get the smoothest controller action you're ever going to find.
I thought I was the only one that did that.
No.
Not inside your nose, Jim.
No. Yeah, on the outside.
That's a Loctite, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, that's Loctite. Yeah, you're right, Gio.
It's the green Loctite. Oh, I like that. Is that called?
Well, thanks for that. I'll give that a shot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use
all my somebody at the racetrack and thought I was nuts.
Well,
is that called the bewitched principle?
All right, Mike, you all done?
Yep.
All right, go ahead, Jeremy.
Okay, let me share this. Perhaps. I should be sharing a spreadsheet.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So on the 10th, we had a race in our club with 8 people. We had 6 races throughout the day. And one of the things I did here was I've been working on a race format for about a year now, trying to get everything dialed in and perfected because I don't like the legacy race format the way it is right now. So like if you think about when you were in like grade school and you would have a race out in the yard with 20 kids, it would always be like the teacher starts and they say go and everybody runs down, runs back, and the first one here is the winner. But in the legacy format that we race in slot cars, it's like the teacher says go, and you run for 2 miles, and then they stop the timer, and whoever kid is 4 miles down the road, he's the winner. And it never made sense to me. That's how we race in slot cars. It's like so. Anyway, long story short, I've been working on this. I got it perfected, I think. And what happened was, this is like the first time it's happened all year where we had 2 guys won. Or one guy won 2 of the races, another guy won 2 of the races, and then a separate winner, and then a separate winner. So we had 4 different people be the top guys, whereas normally on a race day, it's like the top guy is always the winner, and maybe somebody beats him. So we had a wide variety here, and I think it's because we got rid of average lap. We were doing tiebreakers, and it just became kind of weird. Where like some of the legacy formats and other clubs that we've raced at, where you got to know where you're at on the track and then go get a token, set the token down, come back, you get out, another guy's shuffling around to get his token. And when you race like that, and the race can be within inches, if a guy moves his token and puts his car ahead of the token, well, now he's gained 3 inches. It's not a big deal. But if you do that 4 times, that's a foot of track you've picked up. It's just, that's another one of the things that's always kind of bothered me in that legacy format. So anyway, what happened here was we raced 48 laps, and it was a heat race. And so we got 4 people on the track at one time. They raced 12 laps. You're trying to be the fastest in your heat. At the end of the race, it totaled up everybody. And I mean, I just happened to show this because it was Legends. I didn't mean to show that I'm a winner. But I did all 48 laps. I did it in 325.1 seconds. And our seating starts, when you start with the seating, it's the race before, however you finish. If you finish the top of the last race, you're at the top of the seating for the next race. So the better you do, the better people you'll be racing with. The worse you do, the worse people you'll be racing with. So here I started towards the bottom. And this is one of the things I love about Race Coordinator. I wish every program did this, and maybe they do, I don't know. But if all 8 people were on the track at the same time, it kind of shows you how your race went, even if you weren't racing with them. So I start here as Jeremy C in orange, and I start at the bottom. I make my way up to 4th in the first, 60 seconds of the race. And then by 1:30, I'm trading here with, this is the top guy in the club usually. And I'm trading back and forth with him, but we may not have been on the track at the same time. It's just the computer knows who's where at what time. And so then this is the halfway mark of the race at 170, 156 or so. By this time, I'm up into 2nd, and now I'm trading with the guy who's in 1st, and eventually I take 1st position. And you see there's some trading back here for like 5th and 6th. Anyway, I just wanted to show that one of the features in Race Coordinators, when you export the end of the race and dump this out, everybody can get these charts and kind of see how the whole race would have looked if all of us were on the track at the same time. And then as well as you can get, this is my name here, Jeremy. I can see my best lap on lane 1, lane 2, lane 3. So you can also kind of look at this later and go, I'm pretty good in the black lane, but I'm really struggling on the white lane. So that kind of gives you an idea. Okay, what do I need to do? Well, when I get to the track on that day, maybe I spend a little more time on the white lane and tune my car, because I know I've got the black lane down pretty well. So it's just one of those small things that I'd like to see more people take an interest in. I know there's only a few clubs that are using this. I don't know what to call this race format, but I just think it's more accurate and more precise. But
go back to the other tab where you had the summary. Yeah. So
okay.
What are a lane 1 84.7? Is it the time?
Yeah. No, I did. Yeah, that's time right here. So I did 12 laps in 84 seconds. The next guy did it in 82 seconds. This guy did it really fast. When he was in the white lane and he raced, that's how fast he did it. Now, obviously, I made up time here in my black lane because I did it in 79 seconds, where everybody else was about 80. And obviously, it's got regular stuff, gap to position. So the gap to position is the guy ahead of you, how far away is he versus how far away is the leader. And here, led, how many laps our second place guy led the overall race between all competitors. He 38 times or 38 laps, he led the race. But I only led for 7, but I still won the race because towards the end there, I passed him. So, and then we have season points we use also, 10 points for a win, down to 0 for 10th place.
So
anyway.
This means that basically the format you use is you go and race with whoever you have next for one lane, then you can step down and then someone else can jump in, or you go for the 4 lanes in one go.
So the positions here are seed. So it's usually like the 4 guys here will start on each lane, and then it's a European round robin. So you will come in and go out, but it tries to seed you with people near you. It won't take like the best driver and the worst driver and seed them next to each other. It happens occasionally because the way the European round robin works. But we race a heat race for 12 laps. And then you can kind of get an idea of where I'm at. Did I win that heat race or did I come in third? If I came in third, I know, okay, well, I got to pick up my pace a little. And then there's, you move to a different lane. Your car starts at the line every time. So there's no going around getting your token. And you end at the line. That's another nice thing is in Race Coordinator, when the race ends, it cuts power to your lane. So your car stops. You don't got to go, who's still racing? Now we do get the late laps of shame. But so far, the guys that have had the laps of shame, their goal is to have less laps of shame. Like if you had 2 laps of shame, you want to get it down to 1 and then none, and you can kind of see your progress. Whereas in the legacy format, I've always felt like I have no idea where I'm at until the end, and I see the computer go, okay, I was in 17th place. Great. I had no idea. So it's just one of those things. I think, I don't know, it just, for me, it's given me a better experience.
So in each heat, everybody runs 12 laps, and the computer takes the amount of time that you took to do those 12.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So
okay.
Your lap of shame is the slow guy who has to do his last lap or his last 2 laps while everybody's standing watching.
Correct.
Because the other 3 are finished. Is that what you're meaning?
Yeah, that's the lap of shame. If he gets lapped, he's still got to race his 12 laps.
Yes.
The problem earlier in the year I was having with this is that if somebody got lapped or their car died and they didn't want to finish the race, they would just drop out of the race. And their time would only be like, instead of 84 seconds, their time would be 30 seconds. And the computer couldn't figure out, oh, this guy must be faster at the end of the race because it didn't know that he didn't race 48. But I found out how to solve that too in Race Coordinator. So it just worked out really well. I hope more people will take a look at trying that race format.
Cool.
That was it.
Yeah. The way in which you will race analog down here is that basically you race per time. So you go in a group
you
of
set
4.
a 2-minute like watch or whatever, and then go as far as you can.
Yeah, so there is a computer that is taking track of that, right? So 2 minutes where you hang, right? Then basically when 2 minutes over, power is cut from the track. Then you have the tokens. You put the token in because there are sectors that are on the track. So you put the token from, your car finished sector 72, right? And you have to move from white to green. And maybe the 72 is a bit forward. So you put your next token there, clean your car, put on the 72 there, and then start the next heat. At the end, you did the 4, 1 for each. So you do with the same group. You don't go back and forth. So basically, you do the 4 lanes in one go. Okay.
Yeah.
And then basically,
so you're always next to the same person. If you go 1, 2, 3, 4, you're next to each other the whole time.
Yeah, you have the same 4 people next to you that we move a track with.
What happens if you get stuck to a guy who's just really bad and like?
What does it mean? You basically do more laps. I mean, the thing is that if they crash and there is a truck calls, you are fucked. But if they crash and they don't crash on you, you just keep going. The marshal will take care of it. And so basically, actually, you can have a more relaxed way. At the end of the 8 minutes, basically we take the overall number of laps plus the sector where your car stopped. And this gives you overall thing. So even if you started in a B or C group, if you did, let's say, 90 laps, 0.70 or whatever it is, and the best drivers that didn't manage to match that, you can still win. Sometimes, if we don't have enough people, we do like instead of 4, we have 3 guys start driving. This will be the B group. The winner moves to the next round. And so in that case, you will do, instead of just 4, you do 8 heats. So you will move with your
Yeah, I understand. There's all kinds of different ways to race, obviously. You know, you can do points, heats, but there's only two ways to determine a winner. It's either who went the furthest or who went the fastest. And so I just feel like this way determines who went the fastest because it's by time. The other way is who went the furthest during that time. But all the other things we can debate or not, but there's really only two ways to do it. Like, and we never do it the other way. We never do it by who went the fastest. We always do it by who went the furthest. And it's just always kind of tweaked me a little that we have computers that can do this now, but we never use it. Well, I think Alan Wilkinson was on here and talking about it, and he's the one who got my ideas going about that. Anyway, long story short.
Yeah, we get it. Those progress charts that you that you showed.
Yeah,
they're very common in the I'm going to call it the class leading or the biggest adopted RC car racing software.
Yeah,
they produce those for every heat and every final.
Mm-hmm.
They're not new. They're only of limited use, but they do show you progress through the event. You know, they're nice to look.
Yeah, it's nice because we can only race 4 people at a time on our track. But if you have 12 people there, it's kind of nice to know who you were kind of paired with, who you were even with, because you don't. Yeah. When you're racing, you don't have time to look at it and go, "Oh, hey, Joe, you and me are pretty close by each other." You're just looking to do the best you can.
But can you show that real time?
No, you can. Oh, actually, you can show it in real time if you turn on the web-based interface. There's a web button, and then if somebody opens up their phone and types into the web page that it creates, you can see live tracking of that data. It shows the race, and then the charts move and go. But I can't show it live on the screen that the computer's hosting. It has to be through the web.
Not even with 2 screens.
No, with 2 screens, it will only show you stuff for that heat. I can't get the whole overall. There's no screen for overall.
The software that they use at world level, for analog racing, the Lapmaster system that comes from Karsten Grunemann, who's been on this call a number of times, that has a web-based thing, but it also has a second screen. So if you can put up a real-time system as well. And what it does, quite apart from giving real-time updates in one heat with comparisons to everybody else who's already raced, is that it actually does a prediction, and the system works out at all times what your predicted lap total will be at the end of however long the race is, and then it shows that as you could show that as a separate screen, so you can see it in real time all the time.
Yeah, about the best this can do is you can take this screen, and it will show you if there's 24 people on there, you know, the gap to first, gap to the guy ahead of you. But it doesn't have that chart. The chart has to be through your phone if you want to.
It doesn't have the visuals. It just has so you have this, and this would update in real time.
This does, yeah. This shows you how many laps the person has, what time they're on, their average, their best, their gap, everything.
Sure, but if you've got 8 guys, then while the first 4 are racing, or while the second 4 are racing, the first 4 are shown as 1 to 4 because they have a bigger total time or a bigger total laps.
Yep.
It won't sort them based on a projected finishing position.
No, it doesn't sort until the actual race is over. It doesn't. I don't turn on any kind of computer-based guessing for what you're going to. I know there's a way to do that in here where it's like it projects your average. Yeah, there's like it can predict where you're going to be on the track if you're still doing like the legacy racing. But I didn't need that here, so it didn't matter. But yeah, it does stuff similar to that, just not with a chart.
Cool.
I don't mean to be pontificator.
What I miss about slot car racing that I've never seen a program in slot cars that will do it, but all the RC racing programs do this, is an output at the end of a race that will give you every individual lap time for every competitor during that race.
I just showed you that, didn't
every individual lap.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
looking for a column of 40 laps or whatever a number I've
Hang
done.
on. Yeah, here. So in heat 1, am I sharing?
Yeah.
Yes.
On here, Chris, on lap 1 was a 10-second, then a 6, then a 6.5. And this is the heat race, kind of similar to that big chart of everybody. This is just this heat race changes,
Okay, so
and
there's
every
his
single
12
lap you
laps.
want
Yeah,
is
yeah,
on
yeah.
here. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I can go
So
to heat 4.
the race timer can output the data, and you've fed the data to a spreadsheet.
No, all you got to do is once the race is over, you hit export the race, and it exports it as this spreadsheet. And then you just take this spreadsheet. Personally, if it was my computer, I would just hit upload to Google, but I grab it by USB stick, take it home, and then post it on theirs. But you don't have to do any work. All of this is dumped for you. And then and then kind of what's cool too is that it keeps track of your season totals here for this track. This is Ely Speedway. So I know exactly how many points behind. This is the top guy in the club, how far away I am from getting him. And the first race we had there, I got 39 total points. It can keep track of, like, here's the first race we had, and it gives you a brief overview. Like, well, a lot of people don't know about these spreadsheets, but man, they give you a ton of information. So if you have a race coordinator, play around with it.
Nice.
You see, I'm familiar with driving a race, doing my marshalling duty, and then walking over to the results wall. And by the time my marshalling duty is completed, the race organizer has printed out and posted on and stuck to the results wall the results of the race I just competed in, which are on the wall in a different place to the race that ran before, as in adjacent to the race that ran before. And then I can look at a given driver who wasn't in my race and go, well, he did a 7.6 for the fastest lap, but typically he does 7.9s most of the time, whereas I'm doing 7.8 all the way, and I can't get the 7.6 out of my car or my driving, but my consistency is clearly better because he's doing 7.6 to 7.9, whereas I'm doing 7.8 the whole way. And that comparison I find very, very useful. And I can't get it in slot car racing.
You can if you use Race Coordinator. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Give it a try.
I don't run a race man. I don't run a race management. And my club, the one nearest to me, my nearest analog, do use Race Coordinator, but they just don't produce. I don't see the data come out of it like that. We just see that overall column on the right side that you just showed, overlaid on the right side of our screen compared to the current race on the left side, like you showed.
After the show, sometime if you want to reach out to me or like private time, I can show you how. It's one button to hit and it's done. So
I'm pretty sure the guy who runs the show might already know.
Okay. There you go.
He races RC2, so he's very familiar with the style of output that I'm talking about. He will have seen what I'm talking about.
All right.
Do you know what?
Let's wrap the Jeremy segment up because I hate taking up too much time. Go ahead. Go to the next person.
Share notes on that later.
All right. Go to the next person.
Thank you, Jeremy. Anybody else got any club corner they want to talk about? Otherwise, we'll open the floor. As long as it's slot car related. Bring it up. Big Dan, did you have any show and tell or club corner? I see you popped in there. Nope, you're good. All right.
I guess the one thing I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention, because like John is trying to get some reference photos for his Ferrari that he's working on, and even if you're fortunate enough to find reference photos from back in the day that are in color, the color is all over the map. And I just thought I'd show this for John's sake right now. So you can see this is I think this is like Richie Ginther and that's either Sebring or Le Mans, I can't remember. But if you look at this photo, this is the same car in 3 different photos. Look at and just look at the shade of red. It's all over the map, where this looks almost maroon.
It does.
Yeah. So, I don't let's not get our knickers too much in a twist of over colored. Do your best. And quite frankly, back in the day, I don't think the manufacturers cared so much. They had a bucket of red paint. They took a mop and they painted their cars and went racing.
I mean, film, when these pictures were taken, film already applied some of the color management, right? I mean, it was completely neutral, but there were some films that were better for like a Fuji, I think, was better for landscape because it was increasing or making the magenta more intense. So then those stuff gets printed and then scanned. So white management or color management, it's all over the places, right? So as you
Jim
said,
Rose might know how to correct that color. Like there might be a way to use AI to correct that color.
I know a postcard collector, and as far back as the 1905, 1910, 1890s, they were doing Photoshop to photographs to generate postcards without ever owning Photoshop. They were literally cutting and pasting.
Yeah, no. It's been around for. Watch Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane is about 65% of that film is optically printed. In other words, it's like what we would do with CGI now, only they physically did it with the way they framed the shots and it did mattes. Oh no, there's nothing new under the sun. It's just the ease with which you can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of techniques that you would do for in Photoshop, and again, I think we're going over there. You could do them in the wet dark room as well. So, and some you do directly in the field, and some then you do in the dark.
If you want to see something kind of wild, I saw this the other day. I'm not going to play the video because it's just not going to be. But 62 Monaco remastered in 4K. Yeah, and it is sharper than anything you've seen from anything.
Oh yeah, well listen, if your family had a Brownie camera in the 60s, and you have the prints, never mind the negs, the prints, scan them at 600 DPI and see what you get. It's because when you got those
full
prints,
video of the race.
They were contact prints, so the resolution is fantastic. I did that with a bunch of Christmas photos that I finally got around to it, black and white, taken with my mom's Brownie, and I zoomed in and went, holy cow, it's 8 in the morning. No wonder my father looks annoyed, right? Christmas morning, 8 in the morning. No wonder he's like, it's like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So it's really, really cool.
Oh, it's analog. Everything was there. No chopped voltage.
Sorry, I got something about chopped voltage.
No, it's analog. Film is analog, and everything was there. It was fully saturated. There was no pixelation to it at all.
Well, it depends. It depends on the size of the neg. If you're using an 8mm neg, it's going to be grainy as hell. If you're using, a 4-inch neg,
big old screen, yeah,
it comes down to the grain of the film, plus the ASA, and as Gio was saying, you got to line up all the holes in the Swiss cheese to make it work.
I had a question on preferences for tire cleaning solutions, and I know that okay, does anyone know or have a difference in using Rosinol versus Zippo versus lighter fluid? I know that Dennis likes the lighter fluid, but just was curious about anyone doing any cross comparisons of those different.
That's not for cleaning. That's for a different reason.
Depends on the tire too.
Yeah, it depends on the tire.
On the truck as well.
Yep. One size does not fit all.
Okay, how about Electric Dreams?
So you're specific.
The yellow special formulated tires. And,
those yellow ones respond quite well to.
That's only because someone ask Dennis. Someone rubbed them against their nose. That's why they're still good.
No, it's a different thing altogether. Although I must admit I haven't actually tried that. I should try it sometime. I think it might just make the tires slicker. Yeah. No, I always said that the first off thing was the difference between VM&P naphtha and any of the cigarette lighter fluids like Ronsonol or Zippo. And the VMP naphtha is, in my opinion, way too aggressive for a number of tires, or certainly it was for a while for a number of tires, that it was actually causing the tires to split if you used it. And so I moved away from that and started using plain Ronsonol. And then one day I thought to myself, I wonder what that barbecue lighter fluid or fire starter fluid will do. And I tried that and I found that that worked even better. And it worked really well. Firstly, when I was polishing up the tire after truing it, and secondly, for cleaning them. So I still use that. I've used the Coleman fuel as well. That works quite well for cleaning, not as well for the truing and polishing. I mean,
The
you
white
could
gas
use
Coleman fuel?
Hmm?
The white gas
Yeah, white
Coleman
gas.
fuel?
Coleman fuel, yeah, the silver can. I've used isopropyl alcohol, but that doesn't attack the surface or soften the surface. It'll get any dirt off if you've got dirt on it.
Methylated spirit?
No, I haven't used methylated spirit for anything in this country because first of all, in California, to find what the local version of methylated spirit wine is called denatured alcohol. And here in California, it's no longer available at all. In South Africa, we used to use methylated spirit, that stuff that was dyed purple. Is that what you get?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I go to the shop and buy methylated spirit, then yeah, that's the purple stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm really liking using for truing, cleaning, and polishing. I don't do a lot of polishing though, but I can get a nice finish. I talked about it a couple of weeks back. What was it called? Surgical Spirit. And if I look in the back,
find it, the bloody thing here, man.
Couldn't find it. So
everybody has a different name for all of these things.
The main component on the back is methylated spirit, although it's got a completely different odor because it's got a little bit of let's call it
methylated spirit is basically methanol. It's a methyl alcohol. The reason that they put that purple coloring and dye in it is to stop people drinking it.
Yeah,
because it's very, very dangerous for humans. However, there's any number of bums in Southern Africa that will tell you that half a loaf of bread acts as a really good filter to filter out all that purple stuff.
Yeah.
But you got to catch them early, otherwise they can't tell you anymore because they'll probably be dead anyway.
White bread. White bread.
I mean, when we used to go radio control car racing, we used that stuff all the time because the fuel base, the RC cars are all, the fuel is methanol based. So anything, the methylated spirit was really good for cleaning things because it would dissolve the oils and the muck that was on the car that came from the fuel. And when you walked into some of the stores to go and buy that stuff, they would look at you very askance and want to actually start asking you all kinds of questions as to why you needed 4 bottles of methylated spirit, And then we'd have to show them the cars and explain to them what we were doing and promise on the loaf of bread under our arm that we weren't going to actually filter it and drink it.
I, of course, was sponsored by a fuel manufacturer and got spray bottles of expensive squiz to spray the car down and then blow it all off with an airline. Never knew what it was, but it was good. I just shook it under people's noses and said, "You should buy this. It's good."
It's probably just plain methanol,
Maybe.
I used to tap off a little bit of that when I was mixing fuel for the hobby store. Before I put the oil in it, and just keep just plain methanol.
I once found an industrial bulk container IBC plastic bottle inside a metal cage of methanol. In an environment where I had enough access to go along and unscrew the 12-inch diameter lid that they've got. It might be 10, but you know what I mean. 2 hands to get the lid, and then you kind of have to jump and get your hips on the edge of the thing to get your nose over the hole. My God, I've never had a hit like that. It was like, Jesus Christ, I do not want to do that again. It was
which
so
is why they
daunting.
put the purple dye into it.
Yeah, it wasn't meth. It was methanol. I thought that is model fuel. That's a ton of model fuel right there.
Yeah.
That and some oil. Can I get my hands on some of that, please?
Yeah. And a little bit of nitromethane to really make it worthwhile.
Yeah. Off topic. Sorry, back to slot cars.
Yeah, Jim will remember, but I think Jim probably just bought Blue Thunder most of the time, right?
No, I mixed my own.
Oh, you did? Good for you.
3 gallons of methanol, 1 gallon of nitro, and a bottle of Delta oil.
You ran Delta oil?
Yeah.
Oh, man. You've
Delta
gone up
sold me
another
oil.
gone up another point in my estimation. Delta oil was good stuff. The Delta oil
Delta
was good
sold
stuff.
the oil separate.
Yeah.
Did you get Tornado in steel cans over there?
Yeah.
The slot related things, because that's clearly not slot car stuff.
Excuse us.
No,
We'll
not
talk
anymore.
about that later.
Wayne's stuff that he was talking about, that we talked about, was it last week or a couple weeks ago? Didn't it also have oil of wintergreen in it?
Yeah, it was something silicate, wasn't it? And we went and researched that, and it was like, oh, that's a touch of oil of wintergreen. That's what's giving it that medical odor. Yeah,
which also will have its own effect on the rubber.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I haven't tried to do it without the oil of wintergreen. I don't know what's really doing the business. It doesn't make the tire sticky; just makes it really easy to cut. Far easier than lighter fluids.
WD-40 and Coppertone.
WD-40 and what?
That was a great one. That worked really good.
Okay, so the short answer is at Electric Dreams for the NSR.
Your Ronson or your Zippo are fine. Either one of those. And they're the same thing these days anyway, because one bought the other out. I don't remember which way it went. They're both owned by the same company now.
Yeah,
Are tire juices free when they go to these big events at ED?
No, but you can clean your tires ahead of time with whatever you like. But then once the race starts, any intermediate cleaning has to be done purely with a sticky roller.
I saw the sticky roller a lot. Yeah.
We're going to go to that too. We've had issues.
Yeah, I mean, people have had issues all over the world with tire juices of all sorts.
Getting on the track and stuff. All right, Jeremy, what you want to do for the last 10 minutes?
Okay, I just wanted to share.
Not Jeremy time, because he cut Jeremy time short last time.
I hate Jeremy time. We've got a race going right now. That's a demonstration race. Oh, sorry. Am I still on? Okay. So if this screen right here would be, if you pulled up your phone, this is the screen you could see. Is it up right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you could, but because it's your phone, you can pick what you want to see. So if you'd rather look at the heat list that's coming up from your phone, you can look at that and see where you're at, where you're racing. Or if you just want to see the live race, if you want to put this up on a web page or something in the store or your club, you could have this also. And the chart shows live for the heat. It doesn't show it for the whole race though. And then the last thing is that from your phone, if you're the race director, you have a password you give out to control it. You can also hit the stop button on the race and stop the race. Oops, I don't have the password set. So you can stop the race from here too on your phone if you ever want to. So
the first one that you showed us was which one? The race results?
Race results. If
That
you just
one,
leave this
okay.
up, you can you can see the gap to leader, gap ahead of you, score. Score is time. I've changed that on mine. I don't have it changed here, but that would be time on this one. But that would be it. Anyway, I just
For
wanted to show
your,
that for
you have to get it. So
What's that?
what is it? I guess you get. I'm sorry. I was gonna say
All right, so
to get
right now
the.
it's sorting by what's called score or what's actually time
right.
as
If
a
you,
minimum.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just haven't changed the word score to time, but normally it would for the races we're doing. Now, score would obviously be used if you wanted to give points out for a win or whatever, or you wanted to use it for laps. Everybody's different, so
Yeah.
let me
Okay, I
pause
see
the
what's
race here.
happening.
See that it should have turned yellow over here. Live race would be under a yellow flag right now, so that's it's paused right here. And then if I start the
Yeah.
race, and then the also thing interest, I don't know if you guys can hear that, probably not, but the web page also gives out the same audio. So if you're on the other
Oh.
side of the, the web page is on the other side of the room, you can still have the audio over there without having to crank the speakers up to 500 or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you get the audio through your phone if you just want to pay attention that way too. All right,
Nice.
I'll stop sharing.
What is the setup
Nerd time is over.
computer? What is the setup
That's
for the
race
computer
coordinator.
to get?
That's just
Never
it's
set up.
free and race coordinator.
He keeps talking over Dewan.
Yeah, I was trying to say.
I didn't know you were
what is the
talking,
setup
Dewan.
for
Go
the,
ahead.
What is the setup for the computer to be able to get the system to upload to the website? I guess I can just look at that. You can talk offline on that because I use
Okay.
Race Coordinator and it's nice.
Yeah, it's just under the
I believe-
preferences. There's a preference to turn on the web server. It's got a built-in web server.
Okay, great. All right, cool.
And
I
like
have
all
another
the
question too.
all the
Completely
like,
different. Yeah,
I was just gonna say that all the
it's completely.
on the same network in order to see the web page, right? So if you turn on
Okay.
the web,
Here's what I did. You're right, Greg. You want to be inside the network. But what I did was I took that PC and you can open a different port. I mean, this is if you're nerdy. I opened up like port 9001 to direct to port 8080. And then I just had people go to my web page. They could type it in any browser anywhere in the world, and it pulled that up so they could see it. I mean, obviously you don't want to give that out to every, Russian agent, but during the race days, I would turn it on for a few hours, and that was easier. But if everybody's inside your network, it's even easier. Then you don't got to open it up.
And do you know the way we did live results? We did live results by
carrier pigeon
webcasting, not a webcasting. No, a YouTube stream of the race control results output, and we all just logged into YouTube to watch it.
Well, that's a
little delay.
Tin cans and string.
Yeah, it's a little tin cans and string, yeah, but it worked. And of course, that meant that you guys could watch the race without being in the network, which is exactly what is just done by on the web page.
Well, yeah, I just like being able to look at on my own phone and look at what I want. I'm not going to look at what everybody else has the screen up, so that's kind of nice. To each their own.
So I did have another question I can throw out there. I was trying to do some research on the Arco 3D printed chassis. I saw that they had some Lucky Dreams, but does Arco or anyone else make a chassis to work on the Scalextric Camaro Z28 chassis?
Yes.
They do. Okay.
I
Definitely.
think that CG slot cars have two kits, one that fits a 69 Camaro and one that fits a 70. Is it one of those?
I was looking specifically for the 78, the new Z20, the Z28s.
The 7. Yeah.
Probably would be the same as the 70. That probably would be the same as the 70. It's just the second generation Camaro.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
It depends on where the body post mounts are.
It's Scalextric. It could be totally different.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
But that would be the closest one to look for would be the CG slot cars version.
Yes,
They make a complete conversion kit that has a chassis, a motor pod, a guide, bushings, what else? A couple of little fixings and screws and so on, the whole deal. And they're not expensive. They're like 25 or 29, I think.
I have a question. Very, very open question. Who makes the best lead wire to go from your guide to your digital chip?
MB slot.
You like MB slot?
AliExpress.
I don't know. I got some wire from Alan a long time ago, and it was just really nice. It was like all the kinds of flexible you want, and copper
Springy?
multi-strand. Yep.
I would probably go with, well, it depends on the car. NSR wire is good.
Okay, you're not the first person, I think, that prefers NSR wire, but there's still a range of them. Or is that just colour? I'm not
the skinny
sure.
white one is the one that I use.
Okay.
The skinny white NSR tire. NSR. Yes. That's what I recently. The stuff that Alan gave me, I couldn't find anymore. So.
The latest Scale Auto wire is not bad either, and the Allen slot green wire is not bad. There's quite a few.
What's the magic
24
makeup
gauge
of it?
stranded wire tip from Amazon.
Is there a specific diameter that we like, or is there a specific strand count? Because when I've looked at this, I've found that the diameter of the strands and the number of strands, and then the exterior diameter of the silicone sleeve makes up the spec of the wires, and they're all different.
Yeah, I think NSR white ones, you cannot go wrong with that.
Yeah, okay.
There is a very nice count, they're very flexible, it's not too thick.
Yes.
There is I don't think you can find anything better easily in the market. I've tried, but there is,
Just so that you know, apart from some very, very thin black coloured NSR wire that I do own, which has got no springiness to it to speak of, that I do use between the motor and the digital chip, the only lead wire I've been using up until now of any quality is some slotted wire from 2007 era, which has a particularly thick sleeve. I think it's about 1.3.
Yeah.
Way too.
You might be familiar with it. It's red in colour. It's quite springy, but it's really quite thick.
Yeah.
And I'm actually running out of it. So this is the first time I'm really ever going to order lead wire.
And the latest red wire from Slovit is not as good as that stuff was.
Yeah.
Because the latest red wire is not as flexible by any manner of
It's
means.
different. That's correct. Yeah. I found that.
After the really thick insulation, they switched to a thinner insulation, and it was still very flexible. That was pretty good from Slot. But I agree, the new stuff is terrible.
Yeah.
Stuff, the old thick insulation, the wire is good, and the way that it flexes and springs and everything was good, but it was so thick you couldn't easily get it,
it wouldn't feed through some of the holes in the chassis. And things like that.
It's been tricky. Yeah.
White
In the
NSR.
chat.
Sorry, can you guys see that? I was just looking at this for Duan. That's the CG slot cars conversion pack. There's particular ones for a Scalex Mustang, but they have them for the 70 Mustang, for the Scalex Barracuda, for the 69 Camaro, 70 Camaro, and the SCX Barracuda. They work really well. You can put whatever, like a small can motor in them. They have very nice bushings that take a slotted axle. The guide actually works fine for a 3D printed guide. I've never broken one, but some of the guys have, so they don't use it. But it has everything else you want, including a set of mini lighting wheel inserts. So it's all really quite nice.
Ooh. Thank you.
And
We're gonna end
they
the live.
cost $20, $19.99.
Wow.
And you can buy that from Everybody wave bye for Nick.
All right. Thanks. I'll show off my non-public show and tell item.